So I want to continue with a couple stories about pitches of Dream Factory. And there were times that I actually pitched the same executive more time than once. You can't always do that, but one friend of mine moved between different studios and she liked it. So I pitched to her when she was in a new place. So luckily I can talk openly about working with Fonda because she's a good friend and she had no problem with my talking about some of the specifics of pitching her on this. So Fonda Snyder, the first time I pitched Dream Factory to her, she was working at Technicolor, and they were putting together both series and features. And so this was back in, I'm looking at some notes here, in October, end of October in 2010. And so she and one of her partners, Stephen, were interested in hearing more about Dream Factory. But I wasn't going out, they were based in Burbank, and I wasn't going out there anytime soon. And there were no conferences that we were going to at the same time. So what I did is I posted a bunch of my Dream Factory materials on the web, sent them the link, and I did a virtual pitch. So they pulled up my pitch materials as I was here on Skype. So it was a video conference, we could see each other. So it's almost just like being there, and because I'd known Fonda for a while, it was able to work out. Normally I wouldn't do that if possible. But it went great, and some of the notes that I'd gotten back from them as we were talking after I did my pitch, and they were looking at all the art and sample treatment that I had up there. They really liked how fleshed out the idea was. They thought that it felt really eclectic, that it sounded like a really cool feature. They thought it was so clever and so creative. But what they wanted to do was then read through all the details I had provided them, and then they would get back to me. I didn't hear back for a little while, so about 6 weeks later, I followed up with Fonda in an email, and she got back to me pretty quickly. They had finally gotten a chance to read through everything, and the project just wasn't right for Technicolor, although she really did like the project. So I kept that in mind, and of course we stayed in touch. But then I ran into her a few years later in 2015, early 2015, at Kidscreen Summit. And when I ran into her, she was running between meetings and she didn't really have any time. We could sit down and I could do a full pitch. And I told her, I said, I'd love to show you what we've changed and the new things that are a part of Dream Factory and see if maybe it works better for Rainmaker, where she was. And she said, I'd love to talk to you about it. Let's set up a time. So I set up a time and I did a pitch with her about 2 months later or so. So I pitched her the latest updated version. She liked it and she asked me to send her all the new materials. She could show it to the rest of the team over there at Rainmaker. And from that, they ended up, actually they looked at everything within a day. And a day later, which I really appreciated, they got back to me that that they were not going to pick it up. As they said, they declined it because at that point they were looking for a really high concept CG comedy with an older protagonist. So of course, as you know, my lead Matt is a 12 or 13-year-old boy, and it's kind of high concept, but not really high. They were looking for something much more out there than battles and comedy inside a Dream Factory. So whereas Dream Factory is definitely funny, we've got a lot of humor in it now. In fact, even more now than when she read it. But it's not a comedy. It's an action-adventure comedy. So they were looking for just straight, out-and-out comedy. So unfortunately, it didn't work. But the nice thing was that she was open to look into it and bring it into the new company that she was at. So, I really appreciated Fonda on that. And I continue just to keep in touch with her, as I do most executives. The ones that I get along with, we form friendships, so it makes it very easy to follow up with them later. So anyway, so I'm going to continue this. I've got a few other pitches that there were some really interesting stories on some that I'm going to share with you guys in the blogs to come.